This is the School Success Podcast, a podcast for school leaders to learn from other school leaders what's working and what's not, and to get inspiration and encouragement, as well as strategies to grow school enrollment, connect with families, retain teachers, recruit teachers, and everything in between. You guys are heroes, and I cannot thank you enough for pouring into this next generation that's coming behind us. My goal is you will take at least one thing away from every episode that you can take back to your school to make it better than it is right now. Please enjoy the School Success Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation.
Time for school.
Hey, school success makers. Welcome to another edition of the School Success Podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Slater. I'm joined by a new friend out of the great state of Rhode Island, Mike Skazinski, who is the head of school at Barrington Christian Academy in Barrington, Rhode Island. And they're doing some really cool and unique things in Rhode Island that we are going to jump into here in just a little bit on the podcast. So make sure you're paying attention, because there are some fun things that they're doing, that they allow and that they do, that I think are really unique, that I'm hoping you guys will, as always, take back to your school at least one of the things that you hear today to make your school better than it is right now. But before we jump into all that, I always pass it off to the guests to introduce themselves. So Mike, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
We're going to have some fun today. And before we jump into all the fun content we have planned, I ask everybody the same question before we start. And it's this. And this is kind of fun because I've never been to Rhode Island. It's one of the states I've never been to before. And so I'll start with this. If I was to visit you in Barrington, Rhode Island, what would you say, Mitchell? You need to eat this and do this to experience Barrington, Rhode Island.
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say you have to eat a lobster roll, and it's got to be from Blount Fine Foods. That's my pitch.
Okay.
And then you got to see this or do this?
So, yeah, eat this and do this. What's something I got to do?
Something you have to do. Oh, man. That's a really good question. I would say in Barrington, you just got to hit up the water. So there's some really cool spots on the beach and that. So if you're in Barrington, yeah, I would say you got to do is hit up the water.
Okay, I'm just gonna get a lobster roll and go sit by the water. I mean, that sounds like Rhode Island.
That is
right?
actually a pretty sweet day.
Okay, well, I love it. I don't even know if I've had a lobster roll. I've had a crab roll before, but I know it's not the same, obviously. So, but yeah. Rhode Island, they're known for their lobster. Okay, so I don't need to go diving for lobster. You don't think that's like something you have to do being in Rhode Island?
No, because they got the pods. So they just got the lobster pods.
See, I want to do this one day, because I know in Florida where I'm at, they'll do lobster diving where they'll tickle it with a stick and grab it with their hands. And I'm like, that looks awesome, but I've never done it before.
Yep, no, they just throw out the pods.
All right, I love it. Well, there we go. Now I know what I need to do if I go to Barrington, Rhode Island. So
Yep.
we'll go grab a lobster roll together and then go sit by the beach. It sounds like a great day.
It's an awesome one.
So tell everybody a little bit about Barrington Christian Academy, what you guys are doing there at the school, and then we'll dive into some specific questions that I have for you.
Yeah, so we are in our 46th year. So we sit actually kind of right by the water. We got a beautiful location. It was started in 1979 under Barrington Baptist Church. The church is still here. The church and the school just kind of do their own thing now. They kind of split fiduciary responsibilities way back long ago. And the school's just kind of gone from, small church school into we're at 170 full-time students, and we'll get into this. We have over 25 hybrid students right now, and it was like K-12 for a while, then it went to K-8, and I think it was back in 2010 we went back to K-12. So that's where we're at right now, and we're kind of seeing a nice growth trend for us. So hopefully we have some other problems coming up where we have to expand and find some other things to do.
Love it. All right. Well, obviously, for those listening, if they've never heard of hybrid before, which most people I think have, if they're hearing hybrid, what is a hybrid school?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Ours is a little bit different. When we were going through accreditation, our accrediting agency called and said, "I'm not sure if this really qualifies for the paperwork you need to fill out." And so, yeah, our hybrid model is kind of broken into two sections. It's our elementary school, which is K-5, and then it's our upper school, which is 6 through 12. We started it. This is our going into our third year. We started it because my middle school science teacher, I have to shout her out. Her name's Beth Fisher. She was a homeschool mom of five, started working here, and then said, "Hey, I think we have this. We have a potential here to kind of like extend, like kind of who we impact and how we impact others." And so we started to look at our schedule, and especially at the 6 through 12 level, to see how we can accommodate families that are homeschooling their students and offer them either what I had a family I laughed at because they said, "Oh, this is great because now my our child's one man shows, now they have actually someone to like perform with because the one man shows were getting pretty bad." But other parents are like, "Well, we're kind of phasing out of like I can help with math." And so that's kind of where we got to this point. And so what we do is at the elementary school level, we offer up our specials or our enrichment classes to families. So the families, if we have space in those classes, a family can enroll. So for example, today's a STEM day. So we have quite a few students in the elementary school that are homeschool students that just enroll for STEM, just because it's a lot of collaboration, cooperation, and you really need the team building for that too. So we have quite a few kids on campus today that are hybrid doing that at the elementary school level, which is fantastic. So at the elementary school level, students can participate in like our PE, our visual arts, our performing arts, music, and STEM. On the other side of it, what we did was for middle school and high school is we switched up to kind of a block scheduling, but also university model scheduling, because something that um, homeschool families, they want flexibility, but they also need the consistency. And so you kind of have to offer both things for them. So what happens at our middle school and our high school level is that we have Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, Tuesday, Thursday classes, and we kind of call it like our menu. It's a lot to choose from. I always joke with parents to say it's almost like Cheesecake Factory. You open that thing, it's huge. Um, and so parents can say, if I have a freshman, they could say, I want Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, which are English, math, and science with some electives built in. Or they could do Tuesday, Thursday classes. They could pick one core class to enroll in, or they could pick just an elective to enroll in. So it's really up to the family and what their kind of fits their need is how they can enroll their student or students into our hybrid program. And so that's kind of what it looks like. And it's been growing quickly ever since we started it 3 years ago. So it's problem solving now.
Hey, school success makers, Mitchell here. I just want to take a really quick break from the show to give a big, huge shout out to the Herzog Foundation. I absolutely love the Herzog Foundation. I've been friends and partners with them for a couple years now, but we're bringing it to a whole new level. And I'm excited to share that our very own School Success podcast is now featured on the Herzog Foundation Podcast Network. The Herzog Foundation is a powerhouse of resources designed to support schools like yours, from free training events through the Herzog Foundation Institute to their incredible online news publication, The Lion, and of course, our new podcast, Home. They have everything you need to stay informed and inspired. And if you're dreaming of starting your own Christian school or co-op, don't miss their online course, Schoolbox. It's a fantastic resource to help you get started on the right foot. At School Success, we're proud to partner with the Herzog Foundation to bring you these valuable tools and insights. So visit herzogfoundation.com to explore all they have to offer. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on these amazing opportunities for growth and success. And I love all the people over there, and I know you guys will too. So please, please go check them out, and you won't be disappointed. Now, back to the show. Okay. I love the model, and I love that you guys are offering that. Obviously, one of the questions that comes to my mind, and I'm sure others in their mind as well, is managing that. If you're letting people pick, well, they can be in that class and this one can be in this class, and you're suddenly like,
Yeah.
we might have 500 students somehow because they're only taking one a week or something. Like, how do you manage that? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we set like almost like a percentage of how many students could be hybrid in a certain class. And so that's how we manage it. So we have to kind of go back to the beginning of like prior to a school year is we collect all the applications first. So it's a first come first serve basis. And so when it's kind of interesting now, as soon as like the applications are open, the hybrid families are on it right away. So our current hybrid families get like precedence and then new hybrid families. So that's how we manage it. So we just kind of, we track everyone, what classes they want. And then what we do is after like basically after the enrollment season and into the summer, so like after August 1st is when we'll have a good idea of like our hard numbers. And so what we do is we'll then compare our hard numbers for full-time enrollment and just individual class enrollment too, like electives, because electives might have more students than your core classes have. Like you want a huge choir, you don't want 50 kids in a one chemistry class. So what we do then is we compare the numbers, and then we go through the list of when the applications, like well current families, and then when the applications were submitted, and then we fill in those spots with hybrid families. If we don't have any spots, unfortunately, then we can't offer that class. Um, or if we have to like start another section, then we can offer it to more students at the same time. So what it is it helps, especially in the 6th through 12th grade, the upper school, is it gives the students and the families a chance to like be a part of the whole group versus I had a family say, well, why don't you just have a hybrid only like class? I'm like, well, it's called a co-op, and other people are already doing that. This is especially middle school and high school students, if they have a class like before and after lunch and recess, well, they can just stay through it. They don't have to go home. So it's part of that same kind of like, I'd say it's kind of like a little perk to it. So, and like same with middle school and high school students, we want them to be a part of other things too. So because they start to become part of our daily life, not every day, but because of the days they choose. But like if prom, like students, high school students will be asked to go to prom if they want to come, or if they want to come to like a certain event we have. So they start to kind of build in community with us too, instead of like I'm here for a period or I'm here for 2 days and leave. We want you, like if you're going to do it, we want you to still be a part of the community.
I love that. And I love that you let them be a part of that because I was homeschooled my whole life. And so I didn't
Oh,
get
that's right, you're saying that.
all those things. I remember going to the homeschool prom, and that was, I only went one time. And I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then I played football at the local public school. So I was able to like have that experience, but I was again still being homeschooled. So I love that you've let that happen for your athletics. Has that I've heard different states and different regions have different rules for this, where they're like,
Yes.
"Oh, you're not allowed to have homeschoolers come in and play for whatever it is." Is there anything like that in Rhode Island for you guys to be like, recruiting really good sports
Uh,
players to come in and be on your teams or something, or anything like that?
Yeah, so there are like specific sports rules. So we have homeschoolers that will like participate in our athletics. At a state level, if you're part of like the interscholastic, there's super specific rules. So homeschool students can only join their public school district. So you really can't do the private school recruiting. We're in
Mm.
a different league, so we have some different flexibility with what we can and cannot do. We're not building any powerhouses, and that because we'll get into I know the schedule or the agenda. So we get most of our hybrid students if they're enrolling in anything, it's one of our art programs, and that so the hybrid students fill out not too many spots on our athletic teams. Excuse me.
In a perfect world,
Yeah.
would you not have the hybrid program because you're full in at capacity and can only have full time students?
No, I think we would try to figure out a way that then you kind of split into different sections, because it's just it's really great to have the hybrid students. We have, excuse me, we have 25 students, and if we didn't have the hybrid program, if we were full, we wouldn't get to experience those students or those families. And we have some really cool kids coming through the door, even if it's just 45 minutes a week, or if it's 3 days a week, or if it's just for an elective. And so we wouldn't want that it's not just a thing that it's like, oh, well, we have some room here or there. The heart of it was to like give support to homeschool families. So if which I hope we do have that problem, is that we're at capacity, well, then we got to find out like how we still support this program, that it's not a co-op, that it's still, what we've intended to be, where it's a support system.
It's good. Well, I know being a smaller school, sometimes it's hard to compete with some of these schools that are either bigger or they've been around a lot longer. And I know you specifically use the words like, how do we, punch above our weight class when it comes to like competing? What does that look like for you guys when it comes to arts and athletics and competing at a level with other schools and organizations in your area?
Yeah, I mean, it's in this area. There's a lot of like long term or long time established schools. You're looking at 150-year schools, and like we compete against a lot of Catholic schools, and so one of the things that we have to look at is sometimes like you can't really compete. You can do what only you can do and do it the best that you can. So that's what we try to do. Like the staff here is amazing, and so they're always pouring in at a whole bunch of different levels. Like as you said, as we try to punch above our weight. So one of the areas where we punch above our weight is with visual and performing arts, and so I feel like we've staffed the best of the best in those areas, and they just are able to get so much out of the students, not just in that content area, but just as kids too, as students. And then the end result is just something that is, you got to see it to believe it. And that's where a lot of parents will like enroll in like the hybrid program, or even as their students goes to like year 1, year 2, year 3 into art or performing arts, they just go, oh my goodness, I didn't know that they had this talent, or they could do this, or they wanted to be on a stage or doing all of these other art projects. And so we've poured a lot of time, energy, and effort into the visual and performing arts. And we have to get creative sometimes. We don't have a huge theater. We don't even have a theater on campus. So we have different locations that will support us. And yeah, it's absolutely amazing. That's one of the areas where we can just really pour into, and we can watch kids grow and community come together. And yeah, it's a program that for a small school, if you would take a step back, if you were, maybe that's something you would do if you're in Barrington, you would come to one of our musicals, and you would probably take a step back and go like, wait, there's 90 kids in this musical, but this school only has 160, 170
Hmm.
kids. And so it's kind of like that. And, with our sports programs, I'd say we're not competing at the highest level, but the nice thing is that we get kids that just, they can do it. So that's kind of the nice thing for the sports. But I'd say like where we really punch above the weight is, with the staff that we hire, and then what they're able to do. Like they're, again, our performing arts is top notch for such a small school, and same with our visual arts. It's just absolutely amazing, and it's because of the time, energy, and effort that the teachers pour into, and it goes beyond their craft.
That's awesome. So obviously you're good at this area. What would you say for just a tip or suggestion for a school that's wanting to either improve their arts
Yeah.
program or start an arts program? Anything that kind of comes to mind for them to share?
Oh man, I would say for like the performing arts, it's a lot of work. You got to have someone. Our director is, she's a unicorn. You can't, like, you got to find the unicorn, and then you got to like realize as a school, you have to have a lot of flexibility when you're kind of weaving your performing arts and your art into just almost your day to day. Everyone's got to have a ton of flexibility. So that's another thing. And then just be ready to, like, if you're a head of school or an administrator, you got to be ready to grind it out. So you got to be ready to like negotiate certain things to get like space or whatever. And then you have to be ready to like be there to help set up and to break down, or they call it strike the set. I learned that. And you have to be ready to do that in order to help get it off the ground and moving. But then you can't just, as it grows, you can't also then step back. You still got to be a part of it. And so I would say that's the biggest thing. Be ready for a lot of work, find your unicorn, and be super flexible. And then the kids that are like really talented and passionate, or that have it, that just need that raw talent like polished, they'll come find you.
I don't know the arts world very well, but I would assume it costs a lot of money to,
Yeah.
well, maybe it's the staff, the teachers and stuff. Obviously, you know, you have a lot of volunteers, but then
Yeah.
money for the set, renting out the facility now, since you said you don't have your own facility. So like
Yeah.
there's a lot of cost that goes out. Are the kids paying for this? Or is there a way that this is making money, or is this losing
Yeah.
the school a lot of money?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know a lot about the arts either. I didn't. Let's just say that I didn't. I'm a little bit more versed now, being like super immersed in the arts. I'll throw this out there because that's why I'm into sports, because I'm going to basketball practice right after this, because I coach the middle school basketball team, and so it's, you have to budget well for it, but then you also have to do everything else well. You have to negotiate your space well. A lot of churches are like super excited to have people come through their doors. You have to, like, we have a great relationship with Rhode Island College and some other performing arts, like for lighting, microphones, and things like that. You have to have whoever your people are, they have to have really good relationships, because artists want to see other artists succeed and they know what it takes to get there. So they're willing to usually to work with you. That's the other part. And then it's, if you can get a lot of, yeah, like putting the show on, it's our families, they're volunteering, but then it's getting your sponsorships for, your program and other things. And it's your ticket sales where you could, and sometimes people are just, they see something and then they're just wowed by it and then they want to give towards it too. So sometimes that, like just seeing the programs or seeing the art, it all of a sudden opens up maybe other people like that. That's where I want my money to go towards. That's what I want to give toward, because I'm experiencing it year after year. So that's how you can turn it from something where you look at your end budget line and go, "Oh my heavens, this is a fortune," to, "Oh wow, this was profitable and we're able to purchase this stuff, so we don't have to spend it next time," and then continue to roll into, um, just a better budget line. For I can like give an example of, we're a super small school again. We're 170 ish with our hybrid students, and we usually do. 2 years ago, opening night, we did 500 tickets, which is massive for a small school. Last year, we had a smaller venue just because of the show we put on. We wanted it to be more of like an immersive experience, and I think we sold almost 1,200 tickets in 4 shows combined.
Ooh.
And so if you get the people behind you, and pour in the time and energy, it can be something that, like for us, it's what stands out amidst the big schools. And that, so yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
But so it's making the school money. Is that costing technically? Would you say then money for what you guys are doing?
Yeah, no, no, not costing. And so it's like, when you have your budget line, like we budget for it, so it costs just like, we treat
Yeah.
it as a curriculum line. So it's basically, you're spending money. So I guess you could look at it as you lose money, but really not, because you already budgeted for it.
Okay.
And then in the end, with like any sponsorship, program ads and ticket sales, you're on the positive side of things.
That's fantastic. I love
Yeah.
that. I don't think that's common in the schools that are running programs like that. I feel like it's bleeding, I guess, for a lot of them. So it shows that you
Oh,
guys
for
have a good
sure.
program.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely like a lot of, like, when you see it, that's the first reaction is like, wow, how did you guys do this? Or, well, you're in a real hole now after this program. But no, it's been very well managed. And that's part of it too, is you got to have a money person on the backside, and whoever your director is or whoever your people are in your programs, especially in the visual arts too, you have to have the people that with expertise that know that here's where I stay in, the lines I stay in, because otherwise, yeah, then you're bleeding out versus having something profitable moving forward.
Now I know as we're recording this, it's December, so I'm sure you guys have some cool stuff planned for the holidays for with the school. But
Yeah,
but this one won't launch, I'm sure, till people are listening to this probably in the first quarter or
yeah,
something. But any cool ones coming up that you're really excited about that the kids are already working on or the staff is already working on, even into like
yeah.
2026?
We're working on 4 things simultaneously.
Cool.
And so we have like our middle school and high school, performing arts and choir program coming up Friday, December 5th, right? The 5th.
Mhm.
And then in 2 weeks, we have 2 different elementary shows where they do vocal performances and, like performing arts, vignettes. And then the one I look forward to is in January. We do a thing called a showcase. So our director takes like a master style thesis almost, for a performer, and then different the kids do different performances, and they'll have like solo acts. They'll have all kinds of different acts that they do, like again, little vignettes. It's very stripped down because it's your thesis basically, at a college level. So the students aren't in costume or anything; they're just performing. And so that one's really cool. And then then right after that, as soon as that is done, the following week we go right into auditions for our musical, which is in April, I think, this year, or May. I can't remember. It kind of bounces around sometimes. And so we do a big reveal at our Christmas chapel of what the musical will be. That's packs the place.
Man, do you already know what it is?
I do not know what it is yet. So our director's been kind of going back and forth between two different shows. Haven't nailed it down yet. And so, but we have only like 13 days to nail it down because that's when the big reveal is, and everyone counts on it will be revealed at Christmas Chapel.
Wow. All right. So it's coming up. So no spoilers. I had no spoilers here.
No spoilers. Nope, can't give you anything.
Man. All right. Well, that's it. That is cool. That is exciting. I'm
Yeah,
hoping it's a fun one because
yeah, thank you.
the I know that with, and you would know this probably better than I because I've heard this. There's you pay for the show, like the rights to use the show, and then you can do whatever
Yeah,
you want with
yeah.
it. Or what? Do you know much about the legalities and rules around
Yeah,
shows?
so we are very legal forward. So all of our shows, we buy the rights to the show. So which, of course, that has to play into your budget. Some are more expensive than others. We did Beauty and the Beast 2 years ago, a little bit more expensive. Last year we did a show called State Fair. Awesome show, a little less known. The other part is whatever you are picking can't be shown within a certain mile radius either.
Oh,
And we have PPAC, it's called Providence Performing Arts Center, and some other. There's a lot of theaters around here. That's an interesting fact. So you have to be careful of what you choose too, or you're going to get denied also. We had COVID year. We were doing Hello Dolly, rolled over to the following year. There, it was being shown in the area, but they were kind enough to let us do it because of COVID. But a lot of times, then you also have to set like two chairs off to the side for anyone that's like kind of associated with that musical. And so, just in case they show up, to make sure that you're doing well by their standards and that. So yeah, it's yeah, we're very legal forward when we do performing arts
good.
and that, and so
Hey, I just want to take a really quick break from the podcast to highlight one of our amazing partners and sponsors, ClassReach. If you're a new school administrator or founder and are struggling to keep up with all the hassles of planting a new school, like collecting tuition, communicating with parents, or handling student data, then you need ClassReach. ClassReach is the all-in-one software that helps with everything from admissions and tuition to classroom management and parent communications. Sign up for a free consultation with one of their school specialists and see how ClassReach can help your school grow today. You guys can check them out online, classreach.com. They are a kingdom-minded company, and I love their leadership team there. I've become friends with a lot of them. They truly are a great company. I support them, and I love them, and you guys will love them too. Check them out at classreach.com. Now, back to the show.
Money wise for that, is it like how is that broken down? Is it like, so Beauty and the Beast, you said, is more? Is it how many people are going to be seeing this, or is it how many kids are performing in it? Or what does it break down to? And how much is it? Do you know?
yeah, that I do not know. That
Okay.
would be yeah, that's a director question.
Okay.
And so I would say the most of our expense would come from like lighting and staging, and then anybody that you're kind of hiring to help, and then costume stuff and
Sure.
that. So we have an awesome staff member that does costumes. Her name's Melissa Williams, and she even curates time appropriate pieces and everything, and then labels all of them. It's wild of what she does.
So if anybody needs to start a program, they just need to find Melissa Williams from Barrington Christian Academy
Yes.
and poach her away as a.
You'll do your costumes. I can't tell you our director's name because people will look her up and try to grab her.
Sounds like something. Yeah, you need a special person because you would not be hiring a Mitchell Slater or a Mike Skazinski to lead your arts program because we would not
No,
have any idea what we're doing.
no. I can move props around. That's about it.
Yeah, I could coach I could coach the team. You can do that. I could coach a team. We can
There
do
we
that.
go. That's a deal. That's a deal.
Nothing else. I can't do arts or whatever. But I love anything I've gone to. I will say this about the arts is like a plug for anybody who's on that. I grew up not a fan of the arts, and I don't know why that was, but I remember my mom, she took us, she's like, hey, we're gonna go watch Lion King live or whatever.
Oh
And I was
yeah.
like, what? I was like, and I was 16 at the time, and I was like, that's a kid's movie. You know, I love the movie. I was like, that's a kid's movie. I'm not going to the play or whatever. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. We got done. I was like, that was incredible. And so
Yeah.
I had been hooked on like live stuff after that. We went to Fiddler on the Roof. I don't like that movie, but I love the production, like love the
Yeah,
play.
we did that a few years back. Yeah.
Man, it's good stuff. So I've been
Yeah.
to multiple ones now that they're well done. I love this when the kids do it. I've been to a lot now over the years, but
Yeah.
they're very well done. So I love that that's a big part of your school, and especially
Yeah.
with 170 students between both the hybrid and the school in person is like you can do this with a small school. So like I think maybe schools listening to go, oh, I don't know if we could do it, or if we do it, I don't think we could do it well. Like I
Yeah.
mean, Mike's kind of showing you guys you can do this with a small school, and you can do it really, really well.
You can. One of the things I did fail to mention is that our elementary school students, they do pay like an audition fee for it, because then that helps us with with our volunteers. Even though they're volunteers, sometimes we'll like give them a little stipend because it's so many hours,
Yep.
and that's just to like help out with the elementary school. So for upper school, for 6 through 12, it's just part of the program, and so anyone can audition for it and be a part of it. But I like what you said, like that's the thing, is when we go into it knowing we're a small school and the resources that we have or don't have, one of the things that our director always says is that it has to be done with excellence, or we're not going to put it out there. And so that's one of the driving forces too, is you got to be willing to do it with excellence.
Yeah. I would hate to be the person that's doing the auditions and having to tell the second grader that they didn't make it. So I think they should get
Usually
paid
we
for
do
that.
like ensemble groups, so that's another thing I learned on what an ensemble is. And so a lot
Got
of
it.
kids are part of like bigger group numbers and ensembles. And so before you know it, I'll be running my own, my own performing arts school.
There you go. You'll do that, and then athletics, it transfers over to the athletics. Like,
Right.
oh, the kid's not that great. You are the bench warmer, or you are the water boy. It's like, oh, thanks, coach. So that's okay. That makes a lot of sense then, because I would not want to tell a kid that they didn't make it or they couldn't be
Yeah.
on there. It's like, this is a Christian school.
Yeah,
So
we do a lot of like someone will get an understudy role, and then we have an understudy show to make sure everyone kind of gets a shot at things.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, as we wrap up, I got one final question for you that I'm kind of already asked already in a way, but we'll see if there's anything else that comes out of this. We just want you to share a final piece of advice just for anybody listening. Now, this could be in the arts, it could be in the athletics, it could be anything in school related, but just you got school leaders listening in. What would be a final piece of advice you'd want to share with them?
Oh man, that's a really good question. Final piece of advice. I would say what I've learned this year, especially, is I would say this is a weird one, but have really high hiring standards, because once you can establish your dream team, there's nothing like it. And so be super intentional with like your hiring questions and who you hire to be like mission and vision, like and core value, especially core value driven and aligned. Because I feel like this is a year that we have our dream team. And I think that being a private school or a small school, you're going to be able to do so many more things. And it's just a lot of fun when you can have your dream team.
Agreed. That's awesome. Well, Mike, thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you're about to run over to practice with the middle school kids. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that and teaching our listeners, and obviously wishing you nothing but the best as you continue to grow the arts program, athletics, and all that fun stuff you guys are doing up there in Rhode Island. So thanks so much.
Thank you. And I wish you the best in growing your podcast.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, another huge shout out and a thank you to our guests for taking time and being on the podcast today. I love the people that I get to interview in this podcast. And as always, I'm hoping you guys are able to take at least one thing away from today's episode that you can take back to your school to make it better than it is right now. Before you guys go, I do want to make sure you are aware of our 3 free resources available here at School Success. And the first one is, of course, the podcast that you're listening to right now. We are dropping weekly episodes every single Monday morning. We want to make sure you guys aren't missing out. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you haven't left a 5-star review, we would love a 5-star review as well. The second one is on our website, schoolsuccessmakers.com. In the top right-hand corner is a button, School Success Report. You just click that and sign up for that. We send it directly to your inbox every single week. It's full of different articles our team has either found or written to help you, the school leader, be more successful. And last but not least, is our free Facebook community called School Success Makers. It's an awesome place. I'm personally in there. I'd love to see you in there as well. Get some good community around you, ask questions, and just have some fun. So make sure you are joining our free Facebook community. We'd love to see you in there. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. We'll be back here next week with another awesome guest as usual on the School Success Podcast. We'll see you then. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Herzog Foundation.